قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد إن أولياؤه إلا المتقون صدق الله مولانا العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. After praising Allah Jalla Jalaluh and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel and crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the awakener of our souls, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most generous one, the most kind one. Undoubtedly, he is the most beautiful one. None other than Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barak wa sallam. It's a great pleasure to once again be here in Ashton at Al-Nur, an institute, a masjid, a markaz, a blessed mission which promotes the teachings of the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, headed and run by respected brother Maulana Muhammad Shahbaz. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu give him tawfiq and those that are with him the tawfiq to continue to spread the word of Allah and His Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam, according to the manhaj and the teachings of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Imam Ahl Sunnah Shah Ahmad Raza Fazl Breli rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. Tonight we have gathered to commemorate the life of this great personality. Sayyidi Ala Hazrat is an individual, a personality who is in need of no introduction. My words will not elevate the rank of this great alim, of this great wali, of this great man, this great servant of Allah and His Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, who referred himself to as Abdul Mustafa, the slave of Mustafa, the most chosen one, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sayyidi Ala Hazrat rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, 100 years have passed. 100 years have passed since the passing of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat rahmatullahi alayhi. 100 years is a long time. It's a century. In these last 100 years, in this last 100 years since Ala Hazrat left this dunya, we have to ask ourselves a few questions. We have to ask ourselves, what contribution have we made to the mission of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat? Now I want to clarify, when we talk about Fikr-e Raza, or we talk about Maslak-e Ala Hazrat, or we talk about the way and manhaj of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, we are not introducing a new manhaj. We are not introducing a new maslak. We are not introducing a new firaq. Rather, we are reminding the public that in this day and age, and for the last 100 years, especially for us Muslims, whose origins go back to the subcontinent, our manhaj, our way, our understanding of the Quran and Sunnah, the most accurate and correct understanding of the Quran and Sunnah is that of the way of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. And Ala Hazrat's way was no new way or tradition. He was that Imam, he was that great Allama who revived the tradition of many of the scholars that came before him. He revived the teachings of the Mujaddids, the revivers before him, the way of Imam Nawawi, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the way of Imam Jalaluddin al-Suyuti, the way of Mullah Ali Qari. He revived the ways of Sayyidina Ibn Abidin. On all these great A'imma and scholars whose books we read, Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Rahmatullah alayhi understood their teachings better than me and you. And he revived and he brought those teachings to us. And then he told us that if we stick to this way, if we hold on to this tradition, if we hold on to this manhaj, this methodology, then we won't be misguided. For indeed, this methodology stems from the Quran and Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Though Ala Hazrat was a majestic poet, and many people have simply referred to him as a great poet, they have left Ala Hazrat's mission simply as something where he wrote great poetry which is read by Naat Khans of today and of the past. But Ala Hazrat was more than just a majestic poet. He was the greatest Allama of his time. He was the greatest Mujahid of his time. His jihad was with the pen. His striving and struggling, his struggle was with the pen. When Ala Hazrat lifted his pen, he lifted his pen. It sent tremors to the Ahlul Bid'ah, the people of innovation. They knew that there was someone there to defend the true teachings and creed of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Today, who holds this stature and status, suffice to say, it is enough for me to say, that his name today still sends earthquakes in those quarters, in those areas of innovation, because when Ala Hazrat, his work was not just limited to his time. He is one of those personalities and shakhsiyat that lives beyond his time. His name will live long till the day of judgment. His teachings will live long till the day of judgment. Today you go anywhere in the world, Huzur Tajul Ulama, Damat Barakatuhul Aliyah, our chief guest, our chief speaker, who is here, well traveled around the world, been to Canada, Sufi Council of Toronto, my friends and brothers there, brothers Amir and Umar hosted them. They've been to Canada, America, South Africa, everywhere in the world. And we will see that the Faizan of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat has reached those countries. The teachings and the way of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat has reached South Africa, Malawi, has reached Zimbabwe, Trinidad and Tobago, South America, North America, in Europe, Far East, in the Middle East, in Pakistan, in India. Anywhere in the world you will go, you will find ardent followers of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Rahmatullah alayhi present there, reviving the tradition and continuing to uphold the teaching that Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Rahmatullah alayhi taught us. It is good for me and you to say, let's go back to the Quran and Sunnah, but we don't know the first Gardan in the Arabic language. We have no understanding of Sarf and Nahu or Balagha or any of the Funun and sciences that are taught within the curriculum of Dars Nizami or within the Arab world. We have no knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah. Yet it's easy for us to say, let's go back to the Quran and Sunnah. I'll make your life easier. I'll make it even easier for you. Go back to Ala Hazrat and he will take you back to the Quran and Sunnah. That is as simple as it is for the common man. For the public, it is enough for you to go back to the books and the teachings of Ala Hazrat, and from there you will see, when you open his books and you read what Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Rahmatullah alayhi wrote, you will come to the conclusion that Ala Hazrat never ever wrote anything except that it stems from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the aqwal of the Salaf and the Khalaf. This is the way of Ala Hazrat. This is no new tradition. This is no new innovation. This is not a bid'ah. Rather, it is from the Sunnah. It is revival of the Sunnah that Sayyidi Ala Hazrat did. My question to you is, what contribution have you made? What contribution have you made to the mission of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh? You need to ask yourself this question. how are we going to further this mission as the public, as the ulama, and those within different sectors and in positions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq to understand what has been said. I have been slightly late due to the traffic on the way here. We have been listening here very patiently to the speakers and waiting for the khususi khitab and the sermon and lecture of Huzur Taj al-Ulama, Sayyidi Nurani Miya, Damat Barakatuhu al-Aliyah, the son of Huzur Ghazi Millat, Damat Barakatuhu al-Aliyah, an individual who needs no introduction, someone who has been serving the deen for decades now. And this tradition, this mission of Muhaddis Kachota Sharif, Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi, this huge ocean, in the time of Ala Hazrat Rahmatullahi alayhi, bear in mind, Muhaddis Kachota Rahmatullahi alayhi lived in that time. And that these two oceans that existed, the traditions have continued and interlock. And these traditions are the ways going all the way back to Shah Abdul Haq Muhaddis Delhi Rahmatullahi alayhi and many of the great ulama that came before them. It is our great pleasure that we here at Al-Nur along with Al-Hikam Institute host the presence and shakhsiyat of Huzur Taj al-Ulama. What a lakab, Taj al-Ulama. Taj means crown, ulama means scholars. The crown of the scholars is present amongst us. Many of you may be listening to them for the first time, but I can assure you that the khitab of Huzur Taj al-Ulama is one worthy to be listened to. And I urge you all to attentively listen to what they have to say. Not only will they speak in Urdu, in Punjabi, in Hindi, and in English as well. They have a very good command of the English language. If they wanted, they could deliver an entire speech in English. But it suffices for us that they will deliver it in Urdu along with English and other languages that they may wish. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them. They have not come for a long stay here in England. They are going to go back to Canada as well. They have talks booked there and in other parts of the country as well. It is my great pleasure to introduce Huzur Taj al-Ulama to come and speak before ourselves. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate their ranks. Allah Almighty accept this safar. Allah accept their hard works. And with this nara, I would like to hand over the mic. Nare Takbir, Nare Risalat, Nare Risalat, Ulamai Ahl Sunnah, Faizan Raza.